right, time to shift gears here, and I really mean shift gears. We usually do this little thing we call Outrageous Outdoors.
Yeah, but
and I thought it sort of fits for this dumb idea.
It really does, yeah. It really does. It's this idea seems crazier and crazier every time we talk
Russ
about
is the poster child for crazy
it.
outdoors.
This was not my idea.
Really?
He's
I
he's
don't want
he's
any
one trying to
claim
figure
to
out.
it.
I'm still trying to decide why you guys have let him be the navigator.
Well, somebody had to do the work, and that was probably one of the toughest things to coordinate, so why not give him the time?
Yeah,
I mean,
dump it on Russ. Right?
All right, so what are we talking about? Well, let me bring in Barbara Riddle. Barbara with the Davis County Visitors and Convention, right?
You got it.
Vaughn Jacobson, also in studio with us.
I'm here.
And you'll recognize those two names as a couple of the people that we always hang out with during the Balloon Festival up at Antelope Island. He's wearing the hat today, as a matter of fact. And so Vaughn decided, since he had, a personal email and a phone number, that he would throw around some strange idea.
Oh, don't blame me.
Was it Chris?
It was Chris who called me too early one morning. Yeah, Chris Dallin.
Chris Dallin.
Yeah, called me too early one morning, and this is what came out.
All right, spin that microphone toward you, and then we'll tip it toward Barbara in a second.
All right.
That's better. So explain how this whole thing started.
Well, crazy idea. One morning, Chris was driving north to Idaho. I was driving south to central Utah. He called me on the phone. It was early one morning, I might add. And we started talking, and he said, "Hey, what do you think?" And this is what came out.
What came out is the idea that we would attempt to hit all 43 state parks in a 3-day weekend.
That's right.
And Barbara, working up there in the Davis County area, said, why not start at Antelope Island?
That's a perfect place to start.
Perfect place to start. And then you said, hey, it's a perfect place to end.
Absolutely. And we've got such great support from our community, and we're even talking with our county commissioners about having a big blowout party to get us started.
All right, so when is this thing going to take place?
Let's see, it's going to be May, which happens to be National Tourism Week.
Right.
And we're going to start Thursday, the 12th. The game plan now is to start at 12 o'clock noon.
On a Thursday.
On a Thursday.
Yeah.
And we had expected...
Originally, by the way, it was going to be midnight on Friday, and we started looking at the logistics of this and said, I don't know.
That is Russ's crazy idea.
you could just invite listeners to kind of meet you at different places, couldn't you?
Well, that's the plan. Except
we are.
And we're trying to dial in times of how long it's going to take us to get from point A to point B.
And we've pulled in Utah State Parks as well. Dean has been absolutely fabulous, but she's going to be our mouthpiece with all of our state park managers. And the plan is to get like a little welcoming party, hour dependent, for our little traveling group.
Nice.
An example of that would be like Moab and Dead Horse Point. Colin Fryer with Red Rocks, he's talking about wanting to do a big party down in that area.
Yeah.
Red Cliffs Lodge.
And when this whole idea started to come together, we knew that state parks were going to be in a tough situation with their budgets. But I don't know that any of us really knew how bad it might be when the legislature really came down to, getting the, I was going to say scissors out, but it was more like a...
Machete.
a machete or, the buzzsaw, and started taking away budget money. And
shocking.
And what was it, 9% of their budget or something in this fiscal year is going away? Or
I think it's even higher than that.
Might even be more than that.
Because they function off of a portion of their budget's general fund, and a portion's what they collect at the gate and through concessions.
I think you're right. And it might have been more like half of the budget.
I think it's 59% of the general fund budget.
Yeah. And then they were also hamstrung because they were told you can't close any of these places. You need to find a way to keep them open for the public, which they say, okay. And I know they've already had some losses as far as employees go. They're looking at ways of saving money but keeping access to people. And we said, look, we talk all the time on this show, and I know it's part of what you talk about in Davis County, how accessible these places are and why, for heaven's sake, we don't take one weekend or a couple of weekends during the summer and go visit these places. That's how we can help these budgets.
Yep, that's right. I think that's an important thing to recognize is how accessible the state parks really are. People spend a lot of money to leave our state, leave our country, when we have world-class attractions right here in the state that people just fly by, overlook, drive past. They could take a weekend, have a blast, teach their family things right here within a tank of gas.
Well, and that tank of gas is getting more and more expensive, and so there's going to be people looking for ways to save money on that end, too. I drove by the gas station, the Chevron out of my neighborhood. I drive a diesel truck. And
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it had jumped to $3.99 overnight, and regular, I think, is $3.49 or $3.52, something like that. And so here's another idea, and that is visit your state park, give a little money, and believe me, it's a little money at the gate. It's not a
only a
lot of
little.
money.
Do you know you can actually even get an annual pass for $75, which gets you into any state park anytime.
As
That's
many
way
times
worth
as
it.
you like.
That's way worth it.
So Russ was put in charge of logistics. And by the way, let us say, and we will say this many times throughout this process, thanks to Ricky Haney at All Access Recreation.
Yes.
He's supplying us with a nice Class A motorhome that we're going to call home for
Nice.
about 3 days.
The land yacht.
Right, the land yacht. And this is going to be a 24-hour-a-day operation. Somebody's going to have to be driving and moving that bus down the road, right?
Well, Tim,
Yes.
that's correct.
Russ and Rockstar.
Hey, don't let Russ use the facilities on the motorhome because I want him to use the facilities at every state park.
Trust me, Russ will be leaving the motorhome for those maneuvers.
The Kaibo King has spoken.
We have to do an inspection.
And enough said
There you
about
go.
that.
Okay.
So give us the itinerary here.
Well, it's not set in stone, of course, but
You said you had adjusted it last night and
I
saved us some
adjusted it.
time.
Yeah, but on the other hand, we had some specific places we wanted to broadcast from on Saturday morning, and this list does not meet that goal. But anyway, we're starting at Antelope Island.
Woohoo!
That's a lovely state
Okay,
park. My
let's-
family, we use that all the time.
Headed to Willard Bay, headed to Hiram Reservoir, and on to Bear Lake. Then we flip around and come backtrack down to East Canyon, Rockport, Rail Trail in Park City. And we're going to spend some time in Park City because there's a convention going on.
Do you know it's the annual tourism conference,
Perfect
and
timing.
our plan is to try to hit that.
Then over to Jordanelle, Wasatch State Park, Deer Creek, Starvation. And then we go into what's the name of the museum in Vernal? There's a quiz for you.
Dinosaur Museum.
Thank you.
That's a good one, too. I love that one.
And Steinecker, Red Fleet, Schofield, Huntington, Millsite, and then down to Green River State Park, maybe around to golf over there, float the river a little bit. Dead Horse, Edge of the Cedars, and then down to Goosenecks.
How many people have been to Gooseneck?
Exactly.
Yeah. How many people know where Edge of the Cedars is?
And then I have changed our route.
Uh-oh.
I cut 130 miles off of our route by going up the Trail of the Ancients all the way back up to Goblin Valley.
There we go.
That's a beautiful drive. And
That's
we
awesome.
Especially at
Good.
3:30 in the morning.
No, actually, this is going to be in the
Turn on the
afternoon.
brights.
We're going to go through Height, cross the bridge there at Height Marina and go up to Goblin Valley and then back through Torrey and then over to Anastasi Museum and then over to Escalante, Kodachrome, Coral Pink Sand Dunes, and some questionable roads down there that
Questionable roads.
I may have to take a quick trip and check to see if they're
I'm not sure I would trust questionable roads
see if
with
they
Russ.
are.
Russ is going to run out ahead to make sure the road is open.
I
Check
want to
weather
see if they
conditions
are.
prior to.
And here's a new term for you. I want to see if they are motor homeable.
The family truckster is going to be well used. I
They're
think.
So-
motorhome friendly.
And then over into the St. George area for Sand Hollow, our newest state park, Quail Creek, Gunlock, Snow Canyon, then up I-15 to Cedar City, back over to 89 to Otter Creek State Park, Paiute Reservoir, and then back to on I-70 to Fremont Indian State Park, up I-15 to Fillmore.
This is
Back
brilliant,
up-
Tim.
back
Put a
across-
smile on your face now.
Back
is good
across to
stuff.
Palisades. Come on, we still have a couple pages here.
Yeah, there's
then-
40. Wait, there's 43 of these.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go to a relatively unknown state park on the Wasatch Front, and that's over to Fairfield to the Stagecoach
Yeah.
State Park over there, and then to the well-known Flight Park.
Everybody sees,
Point
nobody
of the
recognizes.
mountain. We see things coming off the mountain, but we have yet
Flight
to see
Park.
what the park looks like.
Look,
you
we
know.
only got a couple minutes left in
Okay.
this segment, so they get the idea. It's a busy
wait a
itinerary.
minute.
I know
Only
you
got two places
I
left.
know. Okay, go ahead.
The Great Salt Lake Marina.
That was a
Jordan
cool one.
River HOV Park, but I think it's under construction. Who's snoring?
That's Tim.
That would be Tim.
Okay, and then the last and our final landing place in Barbara. I don't know.
You
if
lost
you're aware
Tim
of
about
this.
3
Barbara's
pages
been in on
ago.
this yet.
You had me at hello.
This is the place.
Woohoo! That's going to be a nice place
That's
to end.
impressive. You know what? I want to go. That list is amazing.
There's no room at the inn.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
You know, a lot of people are wanting to tag along, and
That's a
we
cool thing.
are really suggesting that if you want to catch up with us along the route and follow behind in
Yeah.
the caravan, we welcome that.
How cool is that? You know, the revenue just to come meet Russ would bring it all up.
Yeah.
You got a point there, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Russ, aren't you GPSing us?
Yes, we are. We're going to have a tracker, and it's going to be available online, so you can see at any time where we're at. Now, if you see that tracker stop for a couple hours somewhere,
Get worried.
yeah, it's call the state police.
Some of these places, by the way, are being targeted for possible closure. You know, the Territorial State House down in Fillmore and one of the golf courses. I don't know where that is, but
Green River.
Green River. Yeah.
Green River.
Edge of the Cedars.
Edge of the
Yeah.
Cedars is another one that may be on the chopping block. And what we're trying to do is, A, raise awareness of the problem here, and B, let you know that if we can do all of those in a 3-day weekend, you can do one in a 3-day weekend and have some enjoyable time with your family at just the cost of getting in the gate or a camp spot. I mean, really.
That's right. A park and a weekend, what a blast for a family. One thing I want to mention, Tim, is that this is not state funded in any way. There's no tax dollar going into this. This is all privately funded.
right.
This is just a group of activists that want to do something to promote state parks. Oh, I've never called you guys activists before.
Oh, no.
Russ just got excited.
Power to the
You
people
just
here.
poked the bear.
Well,
Get
and I
on
think
the
we
bus.
should mention, too, that Chevron has been very generous in supporting us and making sure that we can pull this off. So
Yeah, we
thanks,
talked
big
about the
shout out
cost.
to them.
Talked about the cost of gasoline. They're going to make sure we get fueled up along
Yeah.
the way, which is
At least
a
one
great
way.
deal. And again, all one way. It's like that taxi I got in Ocho Rios, Jamaica. They'll take you to the waterfall, but getting back to the ship
Real
is another
expensive.
question. I was just looking up some of the figures here. 18% reduction in funding the coming fiscal year, and you were right on that number. Barbara stripped 59% of its ongoing funds to the 2011-2012 fiscal year. This is a tough situation. And when you talk about how affordable these places are for our families to go in, what's the cost of admission at Antelope Island for a carload?
A carload's $9.
$9.
$9.
Come on. To get out there and enjoy all kinds of facilities, sit out on the beach if you want to, have a nice
Wildlife.
picnic, wildlife, the buffalo roaming
I
around.
love climbing the mountain and looking at both sides of the lake.
That Prairie Peak is an incredible hike.
I love it.
All right.
And it's pretty active out there
do
right
we
now.
pass or something like that? We love that. My family.
All right, so, yes, it's a crazy idea.
Somebody's got to do it.
And yes, we've signed on to do it. We'll be sharing those experiences with you coming up in May. We'll talk more about it to finish out the program. We've got news coming up next on the half hour, and then your snow day segment. Lots of new snow to talk about at area ski resorts, so keep it right here on KSL. All right, final couple of minutes of the show here. We got, 6, 7, 8 minutes to finish talking about this harebrained idea we have of visiting all 43 state parks in 3 days. Vaughn Jacobson is here. Barbara Riddle is also still with us. Bill Francis is going to be tagging along with cameras, so we'll document this whole thing. Chris Dallin was the guy that came up with the harebrained idea. And we want to say again...
You sure wasn't Chevy Chase?
Well,
It could have been. I just don't want to be grandma on the rocker.
it may be a vacation story gone bad. We said thank you to Chevron. We'll say it a lot during this because they're helping us stay on the road. We'll say thank you to All Access RV and Ricky Haney for making sure that we have wheels to get us to and from.
That's right. We have to say thank you, though, to Tim Hughes and Russ Smith and KSL because when I pitched this to Tim, he said, "Who had this crazy idea?" And he, without a breath in between, he said, "And we're in."
Yeah.
So
Well,
thank you.
it's going to be junk food and very little sleep, but
That's right.
it should be a ton
Just
of
a
fun.
normal weekend.
How do we let our listeners get involved in this?
Well, I think there's some fun things to do. First, you have to stay tuned to KSL Outdoor Show.
That's right.
Because this is our primary means of communication with everybody.
Are we going to be posting this itinerary somewhere so people can join us?
We will, yes, and we'll also
Okay.
come up with a website. Bill Francis with the Imagination Company has taken on the task of the website, videotaping it, He's going to work with Russ on the tracker system so people will be able to watch this live as it comes down, figure out where we are, see if we do have a state police visit.
If they really want to.
Yeah. See if we get any offers to make donations to state coffers.
You need to get Rockstar to sponsor you as well.
That's
Russ is already
Russ.
working.
Yeah.
Sponsors.
Oh, Monster's fun. Oh, nice.
Yeah, and one of the taglines could be "Save our state parks," and there's an idea floating around as well that perhaps we could reach out to all of our community and suggest maybe a $5, $10 contribution to state parks.
That's right. And one thing you need to do as listeners is talk to your elected officials. Tell them how much you value those state parks, and the way you talk to them about it is go out and visit a state park.
Right.
Or just talk to Doug Wright. Doug Wright will jump all right on this one.
Yeah.
Find out the value of that state park by visiting it. Go out and spend a day. Don't just drive in your car. Get out and walk around. Enjoy it.
And we know that some of these places, they're just going to be drive-by visits. I mean, we have to stay on the time or we're not going to get this done in a 3-day weekend. So we're not going to be visiting the state parks the way we hope you will visit the state parks.
Right.
But we're going to be jumping out, and Bill's going to have to be woken up in the back of the motorhome and, jump out, take a picture, jump back in and hit the road again. But it's going to be just a great educational thing for us. I haven't been to all these places.
It's going to be a real opportunity for everybody.
And to see the variety of things there are to do and the different scenery and all of the things, we have an amazing jewel at our fingertips that we're not taking advantage
Yeah,
of.
I think Russ said it really well earlier in the show. He said, do something you haven't done before. Get out and see a state park.
Yeah.
I was talking off the air. When you go to these parks, you find foreign people.
That's right.
Not the locals, the foreign people. It's like people ignore the pretty girl next door. You know what I'm saying? So you need to get out.
Oh, there's a variety of foreign people. Listen, just pay attention to how many languages you'll hear while you're there.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
All right, so when are we starting this thing?
We're starting this May 12th. We're planning on noon is what we're planning
Right,
on.
noon.
We may have to make some adjustments here, but I do have an itinerary like I read off, but that's going to be adjusted due to where we're going to plan on broadcasting on Saturday morning.
And Barbara's going to be Antelope Island State Park.
Yes, they're going to kick off at Antelope Island State Park, and the plan is on the Thursday at noon.
And then on Sunday, the plan is to make it to This Is the Place.
Yes, and we hear, the governor and lieutenant governor being invited, we certainly hope they'll be able to join us. And the rumor is that maybe Brigham Young will be there too.
So.
Really?
Yes, Brigham Young himself.
Russ suggested Brigham drive the bus.
I've heard that.
I think that's gonna happen.
Stay tuned.
We're looking for drivers. We're going to have to do this whole thing in shifts. This is going to be a ton of fun. So we've got some time. We'll talk more about it between now and then. Russ still has some,
Fine-tuning.
Oh, yeah, we'll
Fine-tuning
be fine-tuning this till the day we leave.
Yeah. But we hope you'll enjoy it. And we're going to stop somewhere along the way. We don't know where yet. Depends on how this whole thing times out, and actually broadcast the show on the route.
That's right.
That Saturday morning, which would be the 14th. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. Vaughn, Barbara, we're looking forward to this. Chris could not be here today. Is he at Disneyland?
He's in Disneyland.
What a guy. So he's getting all of his vacation time done before this happens, just in case he doesn't come back.
The leisure vacation time.
And we'll have more about it coming up on the show. Navi, if they want to find you, it's always
Wildtrouts.com for the classes and MickeyFenceFlybox.com for the products.
good time to go get all the expert advice you need as a fly fisherman. And Russ, if they need a sat phone.
SkyCallSatellite.com, 801-450-8317, and good morning, Uncle Dave.
Yep, Dave, keep getting better up there. We're thinking about you up at University, right?
No, up at
Huntsman
Huntsman
Center, that's right. Stay with us. The Greenhouse coming up next.